And action. Hi everybody, it's me, JBR, coming at you with another Theater Thursday. As you know, every Thursday I do a movie review. This time I'm going to be doing the movie it's an ABC original movie called Beauty and the Briefcase. It's got Hilary Duff in it. This movie is very good. I love this movie. It's, whatever. I wanted to do like a love-oriented kind of movie because obviously Valentine's Day was just previously this week. If you don't know anything about this movie, if you haven't seen it or whatever, consider this your spoiler alert. Okay, there it is. Okay, so Beauty and the Briefcase starts this woman played by Hilary Duff. Her name is Lane. She works in fashion. She's a writer. She writes like fashion articles and things like that. She's trying to like make her mark in the fashion world. Like, she's written a few things, but nothing that like really stands out. Like, nothing that really nothing too major. Like, she's had a few articles in a few magazines, but that's about it. But then she gets an opportunity to actually work and write a article for a very big magazine, obviously known as Cosmo, and or Cosmopolitan, magazine. So she's given the opportunity, and obviously she's giving the ideas of like what they could do, but the woman that's interviewing her isn't really impressed of like what ideas she's giving. So she's kind of Elaine gets kind of upset, and she's kind of like, oh, I kind of blew the interview, and this was like a big opportunity for her. So she gets upset, but then she ends up talking with the interviewer on her way out, and then they were talking about how the interviewer got dumped by her boyfriend over the phone, and like how like sometimes inconsiderate guys are, and how hard it is to find a guy when you work in fashion. And so she says, yeah, it's so hard to find a guy that works in fashion. And then she's like, oh, all the good-looking guys are in the business era. And then they both have an idea. She actually ends up getting hired, but not for a fashion story. She actually technically she gets hired to do a story as trying to find love in the business place. So to see if they could test the theory that a lot of single good guys, like the one for you, could be not where you work professionally, could be like in a business type of orientation. And so, Lane has this list that she follows that like everything that she wants in a guy. Like, they speak a foreign language, they take random trips on a whim and stuff like that. And so the interviewer at Cosmo says, okay, go into the business world undercover and then try to find your magic man, or a man that has every single thing on your list. And then that proves the theory that guys are hiding in the business type of world. And she says, okay. So she goes undercover, and she gets hired as an assistant for like a business marketing kind of place. And then so she has to find a man so she has to date a lot of the guys and, and find a guy with every single thing on her list. And she's trying, but so far they only have like 2 or 3 things on her list, which is more than she's used to, but it's still it feels like it's still not enough. But one day, she meets this guy when she's out with her girlfriend. She meets this guy, his name is Liam. And he's not, he's not like in the business world at all, but he meets every single thing on her list, and she's starting to wonder if her theory should still apply, like if she should still strike, still write the article that she was originally going to write about finding a guy in the business. And the Cosmo interviewer, or the woman at Cosmo, is saying, no, you have to go with this idea. It's what we pitched. It's whatever. So she she kind of like tries to deny her feelings for Liam, and tries to like still find somebody in her workplace that she could, relate with. And then she's not finding that. So to somewhat please her employer, she starts writing a fake story. So she writes what connection she has with Liam, but she uses another guy at work's name. And so she tries to like cover up this whole facade. But then there's her boss that she works for at the business marketing agency. His name is Tom. And he's like very like strict. Well, not strict, but like he's very practical. He has 7 of the same shirt. He says they're the same, but not the same, you know? He's very, he's Tom. But anyway, so he finds out that she's writing about her supposed sex life with the guy at work, and he's yelling at her saying, "Oh, you're hooking up with every guy in the office." And she's like, "No, I didn't hook up with anybody. It was a lie. It was for an article." And he's like, "Wait, this is for a stupid article?" And they argue about it, you know. And then she storms out, being all upset that she worked so hard to like improve this company, because she was like learning hand signals and like helping with like phone calls and designs for their initiatives and things like that. And to have this fight was kind of disappointing. And then so she storms out, and then when she's out with her girlfriend one day getting drinks, she's like, "Oh, I really wish Liam was here," and blah blah blah. And then she's out with her girlfriend, and then she sees Liam. Now, at this point in the story, Liam told her that he was in London, and so he wasn't supposed to be there, but he was. He was actually undercover, and he was actually lying as of what he actually is. You know, him and a friend of his switch roles when he's on a date. If Liam's on the date, then his friend is the waiter, and if his friend's on a date, then Liam's the waiter. And they like talk each other up in a way. And obviously, seeing Liam as the waiter, she discovers this was all a lie. You didn't really match anything. You just wanted, to play me type of thing. And he's like, "Oh, I just wanted to impress you." And she's like, "No, you just wanted, stuff, adult supervision here. Rated at least PG-13. I'm going to say at least, whatever, they wanted the dirty." So anyway, so she gets mad and she jumps a drink on him, and then they leave, and then she's saying about, she finishes the article that she writes saying that, you're never, sometimes love isn't meant for everybody, or you can't live to a certain expectation when it comes to love. Like, you can't make this supposed list of what a man or your partner should be. You should, like, see where the world takes you type of thing. And then, she kind of, in a way, forgives Liam because he was just giving her what she wanted. And then, but then Tom, her boss, calls her saying, "Hey, where are you? I need those visuals for the presentation today." She's like, "I thought you fired me." And he's like, "I got upset with you. I didn't fire you." She's like, "Well, I gotta get them from the printer." And he's like, "Well, hurry up." So she gets back. She actually technically never got fired, so she actually does still work for Tom. So she goes back to work, and then she gets the visuals, and then Tom gives his presentation of what the business should do, but then the CEO and the business owner doesn't agree, and he's like, "Oh, we'll be out millions of dollars," and stuff like that. So he doesn't want to go with the initiative at first. And then Lane tells Tom, "Hey, why not?" Tom's all about saving the planet. He's very eco-green, and he likes to save resources. So so Lane tells Tom, "Hey, give him your, Go Green initiative." And then so Tom gives him a recycling and like a good for the environment kind of a plan. And then so he agrees to that because it'll make even more money along with the other presentation they had. And then they all, cheer and everybody's like saved and, the company is all good again. And then Lane is like packing up your desk and he's like, Tom says, oh, you did a good job today. And she's like, you too. And he's like, oh, I'll be looking for your article. And she's like, don't believe everything you read. And he's like, oh, you're not going to print the real story? She's like, Cosmo doesn't want the real story. They want the idea that I pitched. And he's like, well, I'm, working in investment marketing. I don't meet a whole lot of women like you, Lane. And she's like, thank you. And then she says goodbye. And then she leaves. And then she finishes up the article. And then she gives it to the woman at Cosmo, and then Cosmo, her and the woman at Cosmo meet, and then she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I messed up on the article, I hit my head, and she's like, Lane, it's everything I could have ever wanted. And she's like, what? And then she says, oh, when you came in here pitching your idea, I saw such potential and things like that, but I would have never guessed that you would have delivered what you did. And then she's like, oh, so congrats on getting the article. And she's like, thank you. And she says, oh, I'm going to want updates on you and Tom. And she's like, Tom? And she's like, oh, it's so obvious you two are into each other. And she's like, me and Tom? And she's like, wait, you're just saying you wrapped up the big meeting, you were a big success, and you just packed up your desk and left. There was nothing after. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, you never told me how Tom did on your checklist. And she's like, because I didn't do a checklist for Tom. So they bring out her checklist, and they list down what she likes, and then and everything he does, like everything that they list, Tom answers to a no. And then the Cosmo woman says, are you seeing a pattern here that Tom is a 0 out of a 10? And then Lane sits there and she thinks for a second. She's like, I think I have to go. So she ends up actually finding that, in a way, she found a man that has nothing on her checklist, but yet he was perfect for her, which was our guy Tom. So she goes to run to the office to find him, and then she finds him in a meeting, and she says, you have no sense of style, you have a bad taste in food, and you're nothing I want in a guy. And he's like, I don't understand. She's like, no, it's a good thing. And he's like, I don't think I'm following. And she's like, Tom, I'm in love with you. And then you see him, and he's like, I love you too. And then they go to kiss, but then they like bump noses. And he's like, oh, sorry. And then they kiss. And then he like lifts her up. And then like the meeting that they were having, everybody like stands up and claps, like that typical, scene. And then, but when he's carrying her out, he like bumps her legs in the door frame. And then he carries her out, and it's all romantic and whatever. And it's, and then she gets her article published in the Cosmo magazine, finding love in the business. And then she says, oh, I'm making another one where you help your boyfriend who works in business get a makeover, because she gave him a makeover for the presentation they had that they won before. And then so, she's all happy that she got her article published, and then it's her saying, oh, it's the little quirks that I love about Tom, and all the pieces of me fit with the pieces of him. And then it's them riding in a carriage, and then you see them drive, right off screen, and then it like closes out, but then there's the moon, and then the blackout fades to a heart over the moon, and then it goes to completely back, and then roll credits, end of movie. It's a beautiful movie. It talks about love. It talks about, I guess finding that person unexpectedly. What I like about this movie is that you don't have too many expectations, don't have a list of oh, a guy should be, or a partner should be this, 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 and this. Like, see where the world takes you and see what kind of people you meet. You never know where relationships lead to, you know? Like, it's cute in that way. If I had to rate the movie 1 out of 5, because it's got one of my favorite actresses in it, I'll give it a 5. It's good. It talks about finding love in those weird types of scenarios and places. But that wraps up this video. If you have any suggestions, write it down in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!